when you increase VAT on petroleum, it's common sense. That affects almost everything. Just that alone.
You know, there are things that we really do not.
Don't you see the impact of VAT?
I see that. But
petroleum.
But this is not
look at
unique in this country. By the way, cross the border, just within our region, the neighborhood. What is the VAT percent on fuel and
why is
in Uganda
and Uganda, which is a landlocked country, and not in Kenya? Can you explain that to Kenyans?
How cheap is it?
It's cheaper.
Because that is a lie. It's about, in fact, as we are speaking right now, Uganda pricing are higher than us.
I don't think so.
It is Tanzania. Trust me, Tanzania is cheaper than us, but Uganda is higher than us. Tanzania is cheaper because of subsidy, which we can't do. We can't do.
Because we can't afford it.
We can't afford it.
Okay.
We can't live beyond our means. We need to tell people.
Don't allow Osoro to engage in kizungu mingi here. And, he will hide behind, many words here to say literally nothing. Osoro, give us a justification. If the Constitution in Article 12 gives an entitlement, a constitutional entitlement to every citizen to an ID, then you wake up one day and you say, if you want an ID, you have to pay 1,000 shillings or 2,000 shillings.
No, that was a printer's mistake.
No, what do you mean by a printer's mistake?
It was, and it has been corrected.
It was not rectified. It was withdrawn.
It was
because of the noise that you are criticizing. If Kenyans had kept quiet, you characters are able to do anything you want with the lives of Kenyans. If we had not made noise about this thing, you would have actually retained those charges because you are shameless. And then you come here and you tell people long stories. Just tell me what is the justification for that. I would not be ashamed, Osoro. Because we have seen this consistently. You have defended things that are not defensible. You know the people are struggling. You impose new taxes and you vote for those taxes. You yourself, as whip, as the MP for South Mugirango, you vote for that the tax, knowing very well the people of South Mugirango cannot afford.
Which particular tax
what do you mean?
Because when you talk about the fuel, we had to be within.
Also, I've read the Finance Act 2020.
The one you voted for
myself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we are saying.
But that very act reduced some taxes.
Also,
I mean, and exactly. That
you know, Trevor,
it reduced some taxes on gas.
I hope viewers are actually watching how painful it is for Osoro to actually defend this government. You know, he's really struggling. You know, and I sympathize with him. But I think Osoro, let's do this. I think let's talk about Kenya. Yeah. We talk about Kenya. We want the government to succeed, but please stop lying.
Can we talk about the successes, the success stories about this country? Let me tell you.
Tell us.
For example, you talk about the housing levy,
which doesn't make sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Do you ever imagine? By the way, if you read through yesterday's paper, you'll realize that we have advertised for more than 30,000 units.
Can we crack the figures by the Trevor?
I tell you
on housing levy.
Let him finish.
Let me finish. Talk about. Even as we look at the negatives and the things that we may really act in the extreme, there are other success stories that we are doing.
Fair point. That's why we're giving you a chance to explain.
But Trevor, don't let him get away with that. When you speak about a success story, it should be at the end of the story. You cannot tell us a success story about plans. How many units have been built under this housing? No. I can assure you, Osoro, no single unit has been delivered under the problem.
No. Let me cut it because that's a lie. I wanted to cut it down.
You have to show me.
Calm down, Osoro.
Every single time I have seen him around here, like he comes to Nairobi and goes to the project in Mukuru. That project was launched under Uhuru Kenyatta. I want to be told that out of the housing levy that we started deducting in July of this year, these are the number of units have been delivered.
But
so
let me explain that.
As a success story.
Okay.
Number two, when you talk about universal health coverage, Osoro, we passed this legislation just the other month. I am telling you, you cannot speak about a success story at the beginning of the story. Show us something that you have actually delivered. We are tired of plans. Tumetenga, tumepanga, tutafanya. Kenyans are tired of that language. You show us one outcome, one policy outcome. Then you can call it a success story. Don't tell us stories here about the things that you've been talking about for the past years.
No.
But
if you care to listen,
Osoro, just
let me tell you. Hold on.
Kindly tell us this. Housing levy Q1 KRA collected just over 10 billion.
Correct.
The target was financial year for 59 billion. But the PBO raised concerns that there is even no framework yet. The funds to implement the affordable.
That's what I'm saying. So which units have been built using that fund?
You see, Sifuna, let's be practical. When was the housing levy passed? When was the Finance Act passed?
Yeah, so don't call it a success story.
It's a success story.
Call it a story. It is still a,
but it's still a success because it is still you. It is still you who will come here and raise the procurement issues, Article 227 here, about the procurement process.
You are missing my point.
We have just, it is success.
No, you are missing my point.
Collected sufficient amount of money.
You are missing my point.
We've collected. Hold on. We have collected sufficient amount of money. You see, the housing thing did not just start yesterday. It started under the Uhuru regime, but different from us. It was not really contributory. It wasn't really mandatory for people to contribute then. What we've done, we've taken over what was happening in slow pace. Now we are hastening it. So even those houses that you are saying, that you know they were built by Uhuru and such like that, did they stop? Do we stop?
Just a minute or so.
We have seen some houses in Ruiru that now we've paid through the hustler.
Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute.
The other day.
Leader, I am telling you this. Whatever is telling you, you have collected X amount of money for a housing levy,
yes,
right? A housing fund. Until you deliver a unit using those resources, you cannot call it a success story. It is still a story. Number two, you having money. You know, first of all, you have a very bad history with people's money, as a government generally. So you having that money there, you cannot tell us that that is a success story. Number three, Osoro, cumulatively, the number of deductions on people's pay slips. If you look at the tax that you imposed on us, the fuel, the VAT, the housing levy, people are earning negative salaries, Osoro. People are unable to live their lives. So please address the cumulative impact of the decisions that you've taken, the policies that you have implemented as a government, and don't call anything a success story until you have actually delivered what was promised under that particular program. We don't want stories.
Okay. I have to take a quick break now. I have to take a quick commercial break.
I've got a general question which I think Osoro must address when we come back. You know, looking at the KK administration, some of the people in this KK administration, they are not newcomers in government. They are very, very senior position, you know, vice presidents, ministers, and all that. So really, we talk about the state of our nation today. We are actually dealing with caricatures, people who now are proving to Kenyans that actually they are not able to govern. They are not able to give any solution. Because, for example, William Ruto, the party leader of Mr. Osoro here, is arguably, I think I might be wrong, the longest elected politician in the country to date. You know? He's the longest. So he cannot come and start second guessing on how to fix the problems of this country. Same with many of the ministers. So I think you guys, you need to come down and admit that you never had a plan, you know, from the very beginning. And there's nothing wrong with you re-evaluating yourself now to say, okay, Kenyans, I think we may have made some mistake or we overstated certain promises. Now we can go back.
But is a 2-year plan now better? Because the government person is saying now we need to...
Trevor?
It was 3 months.
No,
it was 6 months. It was now what has happened?
Yes, exactly. So,
but
now it is 2 years.
That is why, you see...
let's come back and talk about that. I have to take a quick question.
You come up with a plan, you say in a month's time, in 3 months, in 6 months. Now you keep on shifting it because it's all about 2027 now. It's no longer about fixing the problems of Kenya in 2023.
Okay, let's take that quick commercial break, then we'll come.
The hierarchy of needs requires that you deal first of all with the basic needs. Food is number one on that pyramid. What we want you to do is to prioritize people's ability to feed their families, people's ability to take their children to school. So don't tell us about roads and potholes. Once you are cleared the pain that you have imposed right now and people are unable to survive, talk to us about the other things. If you explain to Kenyans, you see, the problem with you, I suspect, is that you think Kenyans are fools. Even when the president repeats that, oh, wajinga waliisha Kenya, I suspect he knows or he believes that there are still some fools.
No. You see, let me tell you.
No, wait. That we can't see when he's trying to be clever and when his government is trying to be clever and when you're trying to be clever. Osoro, people know what priorities the government should be having. And the things that you are doing are not correct in terms of the prioritization of the problems of Kenyans. Just listen to them. Listen to Kenyans and understand that if we are unable to feed our families, we can't do anything else. Stop these stories you're telling us. And one of the biggest observations from these talks, and you should read it there in the newspaper, Trevor, the tragedy for Mama Mboga and the Boda Boda person is that they were told they were the ones going to form government. Right now, the reason these people don't want to do these things is that the real people who formed government are the two shareholders, the two main shareholders from Rift Valley and Central, and an institution called the IMF. They never spoke. When Ruto was campaigning, he never mentioned the IMF.
Or World Bank.
Those were not shareholders in this government. It was Mama Mboga, Mutua Boda, and the wheelbarrow pushers. But now we are being told these levies cannot come down because of our commitments with the IMF. I am asking myself, what about the commitments that you made to Kenyans? Where do they rank in the hierarchy of commitments? Shouldn't the commitments you made to your own people that allowed them to put you in office, shouldn't they rank before any other commitments that you've made? Yep. And the commitments you make with institutions such as the IMF should be in the best interest of the people. Okay. As I said, you cannot bleed a leech to fatten a heifer. The IMF will be okay, even if they don't receive their payment. But what about the people?
All right, Osoro, you want to respond now?
No, you see, we do not... It's funny, it's ironical that we all want to live in a world class. We want to live in a very developed country.
No, we just want to live.
No, wait.
We just want to live.
That. We all dream to be, you know, good, those developed countries and everything, but we still want to operate and reason operate like we used to operate 30 years ago or 40 years ago. Like you want good roads, you're complaining that, you know, we've been living this way for 30 years. You know, you want that Mama Mboga from your village to take her goods to the market, to access good roads to the market. But you are telling her, don't contribute for the road maintenance, but somehow some miracle will happen and that road will be done. I mean, really, at some point,
you're missing the point.
No.
You're missing the point.
I've missed the point as well.
Osoro, you're missing the point. The question, I think, what Senator Sifuna has put on the table is what are really the priorities of this government that will make Kenyans comfortable, so that even if you are told today, contribute to the road, you are comfortable.
That is, for
example, me, I used to think Luyas are the ones who eat a lot of ugali. Kumbe, I didn't know that in KC, it's actually one of the most staple ugali. So if you tell Kenyans today, Ana ugali, and then you keep telling us you contribute to barabaras, you know, those are far-fetched things. So I think the question really is, Osoro, and we want to help you, you know, succeed. Because a successful government is a successful country and a successful people. I think you need to get your priorities right as this government. And you need to go back to what you actually promised Kenyans in 2022. You said that you will do this, by due date you will do this. Now you are shifting the goalpost. At the very least, Osoro, then at least come and explain to us why certain things are not working.
Correct.
Because you are the one who says...
That's what you're explaining. You don't want to listen.
Osoro, you are not.
Are we in that process of making sure that we have food security in this country? Yes, we are. Through what? Through fertilizer, which Sifuna is lying.
It's on hold.
That is number one.
Very tired argument.
How is
this fertilizer thing is an argument also.
How tired is it? Because it is really true that
where did the free fertilizer go?
No.
Where did you distribute the free fertilizer?
It is actually your word that it is free fertilizer. But
it was free. It is the word of the Russian government. It's not my word.
It wasn't. But can you even...
Osoro, are you in Kenya? Are you not in Kenya?
Not just in Kenya.
But the Russians said the fertilizers were free.
Yeah. So the CS of agriculture was there receiving
the free... What Sifuna is doing, we need to separate the issues. What the fertilizer that came from Russia was a sample. Was a sample then, and it was very minimal. As to you can't really compare.
I think we should just end the show and go. Because even your viewers at home, I'm sure we are doing them a great disservice.
No. But it is true. You know, we need to be factual. That's why I say the problem with this country is antagonistic politics. You do this, they bring this.
You know, Osoro, if we are to give you just wise counsel, as you, I think we are your seniors. I think you need to accept one thing, that there has to be political accountability. The things that you said you will do, stop running away from them. More lies will not help you at the end of the day.
What are the lies?
Wait, no. You see, I can see the way you are struggling even to explain some of those success stories. And I think Sifuna has kept on asking you, what's the outcome of what you've said you have done, so that you can actually say this is a success story?
Let me be practical so that let me be practical on that. Let me be very practical on that.
You even use the words.
If we've been able to pass, no. If we've been able to pass, no, that is a success story other than fact.
Osoro will say, increasing VAT on petroleum is a success story, but he's not telling you the negative impact it has on the lives of people. He's not telling you that, you know, by not tackling corruption, because they went out to say that actually when we take over government, there will be nobody to steal money. But some of the first scandals we've seen in this country, right from the edible oil, for example, that is probably the first scandal of this administration. There is zero accountability on question or explanation on how do we end theft of public money from this administration. Osoro is not telling us that, say that we had a plan. That's a success. How can that be a success when there is no outcome?
I have heard him say that now the price of unga, I will focus on that unga. That's my job. He has said one or 2 months. You know, Trevor, if you remember, at the very beginning, we were told immediately the Bible is put down, is going to address this question of price of unga. Then there was a time when the free fertilizer came, we were told within 3 or 4 months the harvest will be ready, it will be done. Then Musalia pushed it to 6 months, Gachagua pushed it to a year. Osoro now today is telling us 1 to 2 months. I don't know who in this administration can give a concrete time frame within which Kenyans can expect the price of unga to go even below what we were buying unga by the time we went into the election, which was 100 shillings. And not for any just some shady brand of unga, no. Because I have said that food security has a component of preference. That you cannot tell me that now there is a packet of unga at 120, but it is a brand that I have never heard of and I do not recognize, I don't know where it comes from. My household is used to cooking ugali using a certain brand of unga. That brand of unga used to be 100 shillings. It went to 250. If you are telling me because of your policies, it has gone back to 100, I should go to the shelf and find that same brand of unga retailing at 100 shillings. But they are being clever. When the president speaks, he says, first he gives a range. And so that we are not able to pin him down. He says between 150 and 170. Then he gives another rider, depending on the brand you buy. He thinks we are fools. He thinks we cannot see through the lies that he's telling us. So Osoro, as a whip in the National Assembly, can you tell the nation here today, is it 1 month? Is it 2 months? Can we hold you down to a time when we will go to the supermarkets in this country and find unga retailing at 90 shillings or 70 shillings like you promised?
You know,
is there a time frame?
It is. Let me tell you, it is wrong for.
This is the point that I was making, that we need honesty in our politics. I personally believe that people can vote for you even if you tell them the truth. You know, you don't have to lie to the public to get into office. As I said, that is what we call obtaining by false pretenses. That language that he is employing right now, this kizungumingi that he's talking about, that is the language I want to hear William Ruto on top of cars during campaigns. He should be saying, we will determine the price of maize based on the market equilibrium of supply and demand. He is the one who said it with his own mouth, that immediately he puts down the Bible, the price of maize flour will be 70 shillings.
But
nobody forced him to say that.
No, he is
the one, just let me finish, he's the one who said that the government will be of Mamamboga and Boda Boda. He never mentioned the IMF. He should stand in the markets the way that he used to campaign and say, by the way, this government is going to be between me and the IMF. You people are not going to be shareholders in this particular government. Why can't you tell people the truth? Let people employ you as the president of the republic based on actual truth, things that you said with your own mouth.
That is not
so
what
this kizungu that you are coming here, don't say it's water under the bridge. And Kenyans are under the bridge. We are drowning in that water under the bridge, Osoro. Get us out of the bridge.